Hey y'all, Jay Nice on the mic. It has been a long time, a long time. So let's get down to business. The reason it's been so long is because I don't know what is going on with my channel, but when I upload videos, they get like 100 views. And that's all cool and fine and dandy, but it seems like my viewership has significantly decreased since I have been making YouTube videos. Y'all know, or may not know, I've been on YouTube for like almost 10 years now. And it kind of got me discouraged because I was like, is nobody watching my content? What I did notice is that one of my more popular videos out of the recent videos I've uploaded was my review on the movie Queen and Slim. So it seems like my audience likes when I review shows and movies. So I wanted to talk about the new movie on Netflix about Madam CJ Walker. So I hope that I'm going to try to do this a little bit more because we're all at home more. We're going to be quarantined or we are quarantined to our houses for God knows how long. So I thought that I'm going to get back into like watching movies and watching shows and reviewing them. So this review, and I wrote it in my phone. I wrote some notes in my phone, but I wanted to talk about the new movie on Madam C.J. Walker. Madam C.J. Walker was played by Octavia Spencer. And last night I watched it. It's like a 4 or 5 part series. If you haven't seen it on Netflix, it's really good. I didn't know Tiffany Haddish was in it. So I was pleasantly surprised. I think her personality is very goofy. So I didn't know how she would play a more serious role, but I think she did a good job. So I thought it was interesting. I had to kind of fact check some of the things in the movie because I was like, wait, did that really happen? Like, for example, I didn't know that Madam CJ Walker ended up buying a house that was 3 miles away from, she was like next door neighbors with the Rockefellers. I didn't know that, and I Googled it, and it turned out to be true. That was some new information. One really interesting thing that the movie touched on was, or the series rather, touched on was colorism. Colorism was one of those themes that was consistently discussed in the movie, and I thought that the way that they did it seemed like it was real. And I tried to look up, I did some research, and I couldn't find any evidence to validate the story between Madam C.J. Walker and this woman named Addie that she allegedly, not allegedly, she admitted that she stole her pomade recipe from this woman that used to do her hair. So the idea was that Madam C.J. Walker was a darker skinned black woman. Addie, the woman who did her hair, was a lighter skinned woman. I believe to me, she looked like she was mixed. And so there was this whole dynamic that Addie did not want Madam CJ Walker, and I'll just call her a CJ, Madam CJ for the sake of this video, but she didn't want Madam CJ to sell her product because she didn't fit the look. And I thought that it was, even though I couldn't find evidence that sort of validated that this was actually a true part of the Madam CJ Walker story, I thought that this is something that was so real. It takes place in our society, outside of the United States, within the United States all the time. I've talked about this in previous videos, one video of which is still on my channel. I will try to link it above somewhere. But this idea of light-skinned privilege. Light-skinned privilege is definitely a real thing. And as anyone who is a black woman can attest to, that's something that we experience. I know that I've been afforded opportunities because of how I look, because of how I talk. And I recognize that. And I was really happy that the movie touched on this light skin privilege multiple times, where Madam CJ felt like she had to work harder because of how she looked. But I thought that her story was so real and relevant. And we do see this a lot, where women that are lighter skinned with quote unquote good hair are the ones that are marketing these hair products for black women, because this idea is that, like Addie said, black women will kill and to look, to look like this particular image that was told to us that is beautiful. We believe that there is a certain image, like you have to look like Beyonce in order to be beautiful. And I love that the movie touched on that particular topic, and the way that they did it was very real. And I think that ultimately the lesson was that it, even if you look a certain way, you can still accomplish your goals, accomplish your dreams. What was really inspiring to me was that Madam CJ was able to accomplish this in the early 1900s, when Jim Crow laws and slavery and racism was more of a thing than it is now. Of course, racism is still definitely alive, but we have more access and opportunity than she did 100 years ago. So what she accomplished as, being the first millionaire is such an amazing accomplishment, and is super duper inspiring to me, especially because according to her, and according to current standards of beauty, someone might not expect a person that looks like her to succeed in the way that she succeeded. So I really loved that they continuously brought in this discussion of colorism. And it was interesting because Addie also felt the other end of it, where she felt like because she was light skinned, people thought she got certain privileges, but at the end of the day, her product was not selling as well as Madam CJ Walker's was. And for her, it seemed like she was frustrated that, you know, people assumed that because she was light skinned, she got all of these privileges, which she got lots of privileges, because of her light skin. However, I think that those privileges only extend but so far. And it's important to remember that. And I think that there was definitely a lot of truth to both of their stories. Another theme that I thought was really interesting was this idea. So I thought I like that they kind of reinforced that it's okay to be who you are and look how you look, because we are beautiful no matter what. And although you guys have eyes to see, you see I'm light skinned, I have light skin privilege. One thing that I don't have is good hair privilege. And I put all of that in quotes because I have 4C hair. My hair is very, very coarse. And when people see my hair, for example, let me tell you an experience. Years ago, I went to a Dominican hair salon, and I had never been to one before. I wanted to get my hair straightened, and I went there, and when I took off my scarf and she saw my hair, she said that for me, and I know for a fact that that salon was charging women with good hair $20. She said for me, they were going to charge me $40, double the price, because my hair was nappy. So I understand what it's like to not have the traditional good hair that that is praised and uplifted in the Black community. So I love the dynamic of really discussing the impacts and the relevance of colorism, and how it's still so pervasive in our society as much as it was in the 1900s. And I loved also that there was this discussion about hair discrimination. And I don't think I still have this video up on my channel, but years ago I sort of piggybacked off of a YouTuber named Julesy. She had a video that I saw years ago where she talked about texture discrimination. I believe her hair is 4C as well. And I love that this is something that is being talked about, because the YouTubers that are praised, if you look on YouTube, go and look at the YouTubers that are the most popular. They are the ones within the natural hair community, they are the ones that have a certain texture of hair, and it's not 4C hair, I'll tell you that. But of course, I think now that's changed and that's changing, because I follow a couple YouTubers with 4C hair, but I think that in general, the YouTubers, as far as hair texture, the ones that are uplifted in the communities are those that have softer hair texture. So I love that, there was this discussion of, or I guess juxtaposition of the light skin and then the good hair and how that affords you certain privileges in society. But what I thought was really powerful was the fact that even though Madam CJ Walker wasn't what some people might deem as traditionally beautiful, she was still able to succeed even more so than her lighter skinned, good hair counterpart. So I love that sort of message, that underlying message in the series. I thought it was really, really, I thought it was a well made story. I thought that they did a great job with the characters, with the casting. I thought, it was great. One thing that I did see, someone that I follow online was kind of making fun of the wigs that were used, and she said for a movie on Madam CJ Walker, they should have had better weaves and lace fronts. I thought that they weren't that bad. Some of them I'm like, okay, I can tell clearly this is a wig because it is. But, I thought that despite the wigs, the weaves, whatever, I thought that it was a really well made story. So I would encourage you all to watch. I think it's a really inspirational story, especially for Black women. It really inspired me and lets me know that no matter the obstacles that are put in my path, it is still possible to be successful. So those were, some of the themes that I saw and I wanted to discuss with you all. It was unfortunate. I didn't know that Madam CJ Walker actually stole this recipe from Addie. Um, but one other thing that I thought was a recurring theme, and that Madam CJ Walker mentioned in the series, was this idea that as Black women, I think sometimes we have a tendency, especially Black entrepreneurs in the same industry, we have this crabs in a bucket, crabs in a barrel mentality where it's like, I'm against you, you're against me, blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, I think that another message of this movie was that we are stronger together, and we don't need to be competing. We need to find ways to collaborate. Collaboration beats competition. And I think that that was one of the most important messages of the movie, is that Madam CJ said to Addie, we could have been so strong if we were together. We could have been an amazing team. But instead of wanting to work with me and wanting me to sell your products, here we are fighting and competing with each other. Collaboration trumps competition any day. And I think that that was one of the best and most underlying messages of the series. And I think that we as Black women and as Black people need to keep that message within our heads, and just remember that we're stronger together. And it's important that we lift each other up rather than trying to tear each other down. So that was my initial thoughts on the series. I would definitely, while we're all kind of socially distancing, I would encourage you to check it out. I thought it was really, again, well made. It was a great story. It had, cliffhangers here and there. And Blair Underwood is not bad to look at either. So let me know what you all think. It's nice to be back and checking you guys out. I will see you all in the next video. Much love.